Good morning. As I said in my last video, I've run out of guns right now, or at least firearms to highlight in my videos for the time being. I guess like everybody else, the economy has kind of hit the mudroom, and I'm working on trying to remedy that situation. So what I was doing was I said, I have so many different firearms from so many different countries and so many different methods. I have bolt action, lever action, semi-automatic, and I thought the bolt has always kind of fascinated me, how things work inside the bolt. And without the bolt, you don't have a gun, so you have to have it functioning properly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the different bolts that I have, the different types of bolts that I have on the different types of guns. And what I want to do is show you how they work. I want to show you, how to take them apart, how to put them back together again, so that you can keep them clean, so that they can work properly. So the first bolt that I'm going to look at is the Mauser. This is Mustafa. He's my Turkish Mauser. So all bolts pretty much do the same thing, no matter which rifle that they are sitting in. The first thing they do is they pick up a round, and they take that round and they shove it into the chamber. This is empty. There's nothing in anything. What I have is I have a dummy round. I color all my dummy rounds with pretty much with some bluing, so that I know that they're the dummies. So the first thing that the round does is it picks up, the bolt does, is it picks up the round out of the magazine and it shoves it into the chamber, and it locks it down inside. There are different ways that the bolt locks itself down, but the idea is to keep the round where it's supposed to be, so that when you fire it, that it's kept tight up against the chamber. I'll explain how the Mauser bolt does it, and then the last thing that a bolt does is when you pull it out, it extracts the round, because you have to get it out of the way so that the next round can be put inside. Ooh, man. Try to do that easily, but that's basically how a round works. A bolt works. So this is the Mauser bolt, and the outside of it, and there's no way to take pressure off that spring. Okay, so the way that the Mauser bolt works is, this is a straight handled bolt. I found that for the most part, at least with Mausers anyway, is the long rifles have straight bolts, whereas the shorter rifles have the curved bolt. That's not a hard fast rule. It's I've had to look at pictures of them to figure out which bolt goes inside which. So the Mauser bolts are pretty much all the same, no matter where they're made. Some of them are a little bit longer than others, so they don't fit. So if you're going to buy a bolt for your rifle, make sure that you know whether it's a short one or a long one, and you can do that by measuring it. It cocks. I don't know if you can see it or not. When you open it, you can see there's the firing pin is attached to this. This is the cocking piece, so that when you open it, it pulls it back, so that so it cocks when you open it, and then you close it. Now, this is the safety. The safety is to the right is safe, to the left is fire, and to the middle is important, as we'll find out. The middle is like for doing maintenance and stuff. If it's safe, you can't open a bolt, and the trigger won't work. you put it in the middle, you can open the bolt, but you can't fire it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the bolt out. Now, the way that the Mausers are set up for you to be able to take your bolt out, it has this little thing right here. It's called the bolt stop. And you have to pull it out. Hard to do from this angle. It pulls out and it releases your bolt. I know a lot of guns, and we'll talk about those, you just pull back on the trigger and it comes out. But this one here, you have to use the bolt release. I like it better because I have in the past had the bolt open and the trigger gets pulled and next thing your bolt comes flying out, and I have had to replace parts of bolts because of that. So let's put old Mustafa down. This bolt's been around for a long time. This is the 1898 version of it that was still in use even in World War II, and to some degree even today for the commercial Mausers that are made for hunting and whatever. This is old granddad. This is the commission rifle. I did a thing on the commission rifle. Oh, come on. And the commission rifle was an experimental series that they did in the late 1800s when they were trying to develop a decent firearm for Germany. And I'm not sure exactly how many they made. I think they made 5 different versions, and it became the granddaddy of the Mauser. And you can see there's the safety, there's the cocking piece in the back, and it's a lot similar to what today's Mauser bolt looks like. This is the bolt now that we've had it out. Okay, this is the extractor. It moves around. It holds still while the bolt moves. The round hooks up underneath there. And it gets pulled out. And then when it hits the ejector pops it out. It's just something that when you pull it back, it just hits it and it knocks it out. The ejector is located in the bolt stop. I couldn't show that to you, but it's located in the bolt stop. Here's your safety, as we talked about before. This is your cocking piece, and that's important because when you cock your rifle, this little piece right here hooks onto the sear. See that thing? That's the sear. So that's hooked onto there, so it can't go back inside. The spring is pulling on it, and it's when you pull the trigger, it goes inside, and when it goes inside, it releases the cocking piece, which has the firing pin attached to it. Which there's the spring, Mustafa, and the spring. The handle, as I explained already once before, and underneath you have 2 holes. And these 2 holes are to help vent gases. Alexa, stop. I'm rust bluing the gun. I'll show it to you here, what I've got so far when I'm done. What happens is if you have like a broken cartridge or whatever, what happens is when the gases are expelled back towards you, these will take some of those gases and vent them off away from you so that you don't have that problem. The bolt takes a lot of pressure, and it has to lock the cartridge inside. On the Mauser, you have this, and what those are up near the opening to the chamber. When you turn it, they lock into these grooves that are inside the receiver to help lock it in. But Mauser also has a third one back here, so it's like a backup. It's the third lug to hold it in. I'm trying to think. Let's let's take it apart. Let me get things set up. I got to finish steaming my barrel, and let me go ahead and get set up, and we'll do the take apart and put back together again. Thanks. Okay, what I've got here is my barrel. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a lot of extra rust left around. Let's see, I got to get some better video equipment, but I guess when I start getting paid, I'll do that. But anyway, so there's just a bunch of extra rust and on this barrel. This is a my 1896. Maybe you can see it better there. It's my 1896 Craig Springfield. This is last bluing. So we'll after that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for this to cool off. Then I'm going to use some steel wool, and I'm going to take and get off all the excess, and then I'm going to take some grease and put some grease on it and let it sit for a couple of days, and when I take that off, I'll oil it, and it should look beautiful. So we'll show it later on in the series here. What I have is an old cleaning rod that I have stuck the end of it in the vise. It sticks out, and I just slide the barrel on top of it, because that way there you can turn it, and when you're putting the stuff on, whatever. I think I did a series on rust bluing. I could do another series more in depth with rust bluing if people like. Okay, so anyway, so here's the bolt. Did I get any closer here? This is the bolt here. Now, right over here, it's on the sleeve. This is the bolt sleeve. There's a stop, and it's spring. You push up on it, and there's a spring. The reason you want to leave your safety at this is because what it does is it allows this to turn, because you want your sleeve to turn. If you didn't have it up like that, you'd have it'd be a tough time, because you have to really push on that thing and try to turn it, and it probably would not work. So you leave it like that. This is very similar to the way that I had an 03A3, and the bolt worked pretty much the same way as this one works. So like I said, it's been copied many times, and it's a good design. Obviously, it's a very simple design. So then you pull this out. Here's your firing pin. You can see right here that it's very thin. You got to be careful of it when you do what we're going to do to it later. Now, this is a very powerful spring. This spring, if released, will shoot this bolt across the room. I've pushed this firing pin across the room, and it will. I've had it honestly stick to a wall. I've had it actually stick into me. So you have to really be careful of it, because it's deceptively very strong. So to get this out, you have to push down on it, and it'll pop out. I use, for the most part, I use my wooden bench, or it has a piece of rubber on it, so that way there I can, I mean, you don't want to put this up against something hard, because you might bend the end of the firing pin. The Turks came up with a great idea. On the side of their rifles, they have these holes. What are those holes for? Those holes are for, so you can stick your firing pin in. Then what you do is you push down, you take your cocking piece, and you turn it, and it comes off. And I'll show you how that works. Now, this is very important that you hold this thing, because otherwise it's going to go flying. So there you go. There you go. Thank you, Mustafa. I wish I could take these guns out more than I do. Of course, it's springtime now, and it's more outside shooting weather. So maybe I will be able to take them out more than I want to. The firing pin. On the end of the firing pin, you can see it's squared like that. Inside the cocking piece, it's done so that way there it locks inside. This is your safety, and you can see. Let's see if I get this. It's very simple. Safety is off. You can see down inside. You put your safety on. There's a little ridge, and what that does is the cocking piece sits on top of that, and it won't be able to go down inside. So your safety comes off. Okay. Your extractor. The extractor comes off. This is a long video, I'm sorry. The extractor sits up here, and what you do for that is you get it in a situation where that's how it sits. So what you want to do is rotate it so that you have that space in between there like that. My microphone. I'm trying to get better sound for the videos, so well, we'll see how it works. So what you do for this is you push down on the middle of it, so it lifts it up on the end. Well, if you do it, you'll see it, and then it just slides out, and there you go. There's your extractor. So now your bolt is fully taken apart. Take it, clean it. Especially using like corrosives. A lot of, I know I do. I use corrosives because I buy surplus ammo, especially the 8mm. And I found a place to buy 303 surplus, and it's corrosive, which means that it's going to leave crap on your parts inside. So you're going to need to know how to take the bolt apart to clean it after each time you shoot it. Otherwise, it'll just start kicking up inside, and it'll be a problem. So you clean it. Okay, it's already been cleaned. So then you put your, when I was talking about, you see that V, and this has a V on it too, and they fit together. So when you rotate your bolt when you're opening it, what happens is it pushes this up that hill, and that's what cocks your device, so that when you go back in and you close it, it turns it just a little bit more, so this thing is sitting right over the V, so that when you release the sear, it shoots down inside, and that's how your gun fires. So you put your spring on your extractor. There's a piece, see how that fits like that, and then there's this little piece that moves around. What you want to do is find a place where this ring is where this fits, the bottom part of this thing. So you want to find a place over to the side where that's not, like over here, like where you took it off. You want to slide this down onto that thing and push it down. Now you can see I pushed it down on top of that thing that is not in the groove. Okay, that's what you want, because then you turn it, and now it's in the groove. Sometimes it'll snap, sometimes it won't, because this still holds still, whereas the bolt itself is the only thing. Once this is inserted, the bolt body is the only thing that really turns. Everything else stands still, and the bolt body moves around it. So the next thing you want to do is get this puppy together here. So on the the bolt, I showed you it's flat and then round. So there's corresponding things inside there. You want to put your safety on, and I'm going to put my safety on the same way that it was when I took it off. I'm going to put it out like that, so that way there I won't have to mess with it. And then push down on this. Okay, turn it. Okay, so then you put it on and you turn it so that it's in that groove. See the groove? So it's in the groove. Then it's just as simple as putting this back, turning this and turn it back on. That thing's in the way. Just push up on it. It'll go around and it'll click. And when it clicks, you know you're in. And there you go. There's your bolt. Put it back in. If for some reason while you're messing with it, like it happens, this goes to fire and the firing pin goes in, it's kind of a bear to get out. What you need to do is you need to raise your cocking device so that you can get this underneath it. The way that I do it is on the edge of my workbench. It's wood, so it's not going to damage anything. I put the cocking device on the edge of the wood and I push down. And when I push down, that's when I take my safety and put my safety in place. So that way there it's... because if you try to pull it, I'm telling you, there's going to be blood, because it's going to snap back at you. It's going to... there was for me, there was blood until I figured out how to do that. It's not going to damage it. The wood's not going to damage it. So then we take our rifle. Oh, you know, the safety has to be in the, the extractor has to be all the way over, so it slides in. And there we go. Put it on fire, put it on safety. I'm going to, there we go. And there we are. That's the bolt. That's the Mauser bolt in a nutshell. Write me if you have any questions. If you want me to clarify anything. It's a long ass video and I'm sorry about that, but the rest should be a little bit, should be shorter, mainly because I'm not going to be explaining how a bolt works every time. So I think we're going to do the Carcanos next. The Carcanos are a simple bolt, and the simpler the bolt, the better. But we're going to get into some complex bolts too, and you wonder, what they were thinking about soldiers trying to manipulate these bolts while they're in the field if something would have happened. But anyway, that's enough, man. That's a long video. All right. Well, thank you for watching, and if you have any suggestions, let me know. If you think this is not a good series, let me know. I'm working on getting a couple more guns. Father's Day is coming up, and we'll see what happens. All right. Well, thank you. So, again.